Compliance with the Open Publics Meeting Act, the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Atlantic County Board of Commissioners was provided in the following manner. Published in the Press of Atlantic City and mailed to the Current, the Daily Journal, the Hamilton Gazette, and the Hamilton News, and has been posted on the bulletin boards in the County Office Building in Atlantic City, Stillwater Building in Northfield, and the County Clerk's Office in Mays Landing. Prior to giving the opening prayer, I just want to make a note that, as Women's History Month comes to a close, I'd ask that we take a moment of silence following our prayer in acknowledgement of the passing of former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, who was the first woman to ever hold this office. I also want to say it's very fitting, at the end of the Women's History Month, that we are honoring Police Chief Donna Higbee tonight. So upon her retirement, as it provides us with the opportunity to thank her as a role model for future generations. And I think you have quite a few of them back there. Okay, we'll have the opening prayer.
Our Heavenly Father, grant us the wisdom to walk in thy light and the courage to accept the responsibilities placed upon us. Grant us that our principles may be sound, our decisions be wise, and our performance in office be faithful. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we'll stand and face the flag. Attention, salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Madam Clerk, I'll have roll call.
Ballas.
Here.
Bertino.
Here.
Corsi.
Present.
Days.
Here.
Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Gatto.
Here.
Parker.
Here.
Risley.
Here.
And Kern.
Here. The commissioners have had an opportunity to review the minutes from March 15, 2022. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the March 15, 2022 minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made in second. Well, call the roll.
Ballas.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes. Motion carries. Just to make a few notes, anyone that would like to speak during public comments, please come to the podium, state your name and the town you reside. You'll be provided up to 3 minutes to speak. If you're attending virtually, please type yes and the resolution number in the question and answer box. Any items not listed on the agenda, you may speak during public comments. You'll be raised from an attendee to a panelist. When you're raised, again, please state your name and the town you reside. Okay, and that's going to take us right into Resolution 163.
Honoring Police Chief Donna Higbee upon her retirement from the Galloway Township Police Department.
Motion.
Second.
Motion been made in second. Any commissioners' comments?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If we can. Rich and I saw that you were retiring, Chief, and we felt like we couldn't let it go by without a little bit more recognition. I know that you recently were honored by the Galloway Township Council, and I think that I can speak for all of us when we say we're just so proud of the path that you paved in Atlantic County as the first female chief of police here in our county. You served the Galloway Township well, but you also served, I know, some of the larger police organizations as a leader as well. And we're just so proud of you and so happy for you. I know you have a lot planned for your next chapter, but we just really wanted to take a minute to recognize you and your work. And very befitting that it's the end of Women's History Month, because you are a history maker here in Atlantic County, and we just wanted to say that out loud. Rich, you want to add anything?
Definitely. Again, thank you for accommodating us on your your busy schedule.
Yeah.
Your new job.
Yeah.
But we definitely did want to make sure that we got you here this month to recognize you in honor of Women's History Month. And it's a great. You grew up in Galloway Township. I don't want to say that a lot of people have some issues with police officers. It's become a little more challenging for both society and the men and women in uniform today. But I never heard an ill word spoken about Chief Higbee. She handled herself with the utmost professionalism. Everybody respected her, and they looked up to her. So, thank you for your service and best wishes for continued success.
And I think I also have to send some sentiments from my mother, who was the principal at Absegami during Chief's tenure in Galloway, and I know they worked really well together and navigated, and you know she loves you so much, and so I send those regards from her as well. So
Thank you, commissioners. Any other commissioners? Any comments?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Bells?
Yeah, Donna, Chief Higby, just again, want to say congratulations. You know, as a, you know, working in another municipality, watching your career as you grew through the ranks, and then personally working with you as the chief, as while I was the sheriff with the Chiefs of Police Association, and you going up through the ranks of the Chiefs of Police Association. You did a phenomenal job there, and you know, you were kind of a sounding board for a lot of the chiefs around the county, and they're going to miss you. I'm sure they're all probably still calling you, but they're going to miss you. You did a great job. Congratulations, and retirement is busier than actual work, believe me. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Am I allowed a minute?
yeah, and we actually have a proclamation for you.
Let's see if we have any other commissioner comments.
Well deserved, the accolades speak
Okay,
for
thank you.
themselves.
And I think it's also worth mentioning, you know, Chief, when we talk about paving the path, Egg Harbor City just appointed their new police chief, which is now the second female police chief in Atlantic County, Marcella Allen. So it's just a great path that you have paved now on behalf of the female law enforcement officers out there. So come on up.
Any
I'm sorry,
comments
you
from the
wanna-
public? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Ballas,
Yes.
Bertino,
Yes.
Corsi,
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's my honor to have served, not just for Galloway Township, for Atlantic County, and representing the Atlantic County Chiefs of Police for several years. I've worked with so many people in this room. And to your point, and your mother will be proud, as the graduating class of Absegami 1994, Marcella and I grew up together. We graduated together. So your mom would be excited to know that, you know, both of us became chief of police. Also, Captain Stacy Schlachter in the Pleasantville Police
Yes.
Department.
Yes.
We all went to school together. So very proud of those women. And I see all the students here, and it's just important that they should know that if you work hard, you can do anything that you set your mind to. Just keep working hard and complete your education and just keep pushing forward. So nothing can hold you back. As long as you put your mind to it, you can do it. But I appreciate you recognizing me, and it really was my privilege to serve the community. My entire tenure as chief, that was my big focus, and I really enjoyed, you know, my service there. So thank you.
We have
Very
a
welcome, thank you.
proclamation for you. So why don't you come out front here? This talks about a lot of the accolades that you front and center. There we go.
Okay.
This talks about all the accolades that we just kind of mentioned, and we want to present that to you on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. So
Thank you very much.
why don't we give a round of applause for Chief?
Commissioner Gatto?
Yes.
Would you like to ask our senator to join us?
Oh yeah, Senator.
Yes.
I didn't even see you out there. You want to join?
I'm Absegami 89.
Oh.
I got all kinds of
Okay,
braids
now
here.
you're getting outranked over here.
I'm Gabby 92.
Settle down with the gammy stuff. Settle down, settle down.
You did notice I did wear my boots, right?
I know you.
Congratulations.
Gosh, Gabby, too, I was saying, we're here.
Just around there.
Before 89. Before it actually moved to Galloway.
Oh, yeah?
I was Absegami, but it was Absegami. Was that 83 she graduated?
So we don't have
Yeah,
to move.
I was 80.
Madam Clerk, we don't have a resolution or number to this one.
No, it's just certificate.
Okay, so we don't have to make a motion.
No.
Okay. Okay, and we are now going to recognize this crew in the back for what a great year they had. Let's come on up.
Doing the girls.
Mainland, boys and girls, but actually, Andrew's doing it.
Oh, okay.
Girls first.
Yay! Thanks for being here, ladies. Wow.
No wonder they had a good season.
They're all bigger than us.
That's how I felt when he walked in the door. I said,
No one can see you.
I wasn't the tallest.
I want you.
All right, Mr. Marshall, the floor is yours.
Mainland Regional High School girls basketball team 2021-2022. The girls completed a truly historic season for their program this year. They tied a program record for wins in a season with 28 and only suffered 3 losses, all of which coming against top 10 teams in the state. Along the way, they won the Cal American Conference regular season championship, the Cal Tournament Championship, and a South Jersey Group 3 sectional title as well. Give them a hand for that. Ultimately, the girls finished the season as the New Jersey Group 3 runners-up to a very tough Sparta team from North Jersey. The girls also set several program records, including for points scored in a single season. The girls were also selected as the AC Press Team of the Year. Despite all of the records, what made this team unique was the way in which they achieved their success. Only one girl averaged more than 10 points a game because each girl was capable of leading the way on any given night. In their own playoff games, they had 4 different leading scorers in 8 games, which truly demonstrated the depth and unselfishness of this team. They had all 5 starters receive All-Press Area All-Star recognition, which demonstrates the talent of this group. And most importantly, they had several features in local media discussing the chemistry of the girls, which demonstrates the outstanding young ladies they had on the team. It is truly a special year, not only for the on-court success, but more importantly, because of the outstanding girls involved in it. The team members are all here. Coach, I'll let you introduce your girls.
Sure thing. Yeah, so we have all the girls up here were all of our varsity letter winners from this year. Am I going to do the certificates afterwards? We do that first?
Yes.
Okay. So we have certificates for you guys afterwards.
You can
Just go through. Okay,
Just go
so
through.
we had one freshman this year. This was Ava Sheeran. Good job, Ava. Had a big group of sophomores this year. Anna Paytas, Morgan O'Brien, Emily Paytas, Morgan O'Brien, Casey Bertones, Ava and Bella Mazer. Who am I missing over there for my sophomores? And Lynn McLaughlin. And Sydney Stokes. We had 2 juniors in the program this year. McKenna Ponteri met 3 juniors. Oh my goodness. 3 juniors in the program. McKenna Ponteri, Madison Naman, and Kalatasi Rogers. And our 2 senior leaders from this year were Caitlin Boggs and Cameron Dirksen. This is your varsity letting winner girls.
Awesome.
That's one of the things we have at the county when we're bringing teams this size or groups of this size in here. We're a little size
Sure thing.
struggling, so I'll hand you these.
Appreciate
And if
it.
we can get a picture,
Yeah, we'll get them.
Wherever you guys want us. You guys want right here?
Yeah, this is good.
I think I should stand on top here. These girls are leaving it up.
You better stay in front of it. That way you can be seen.
What, inside? There
You can go ahead.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right.
Smile, son.
Okay.
There's all we got there.
Yes, I can, believe it or not.
Uh-oh.
You wanna get back? Here. Okay, that does it. Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, girls.
Thank you.
Congrats.
They have a curve for the coach, so you know.
So while we wait for them to go back, I'll start to read, Madam Chair, the boys.
Thank you.
If that's appropriate. Boys basketball 2021-22. Typically, a 16-11 record would sound like a nice season that one could feel good about, but hardly something truly historic. However, the 2021-2022 season was exactly that, historic. The Mustangs had 3 seniors, Christian Rogers, Owen Mead, and Noah Myers, whose leadership was critical for what was an otherwise young and inexperienced team. Christian was the floor general who ran the show as their starting point guard, and Noah and Owen, the Twin Towers, played key roles coming off the bench. One element that made this year historic was that the other 4 starters were all sophomores, which may have been the first time in school history in which 4 sophomores started on a team with a winning record. Even more, this group earned a spot in the Cape Atlantic League playoffs as the 8th seed and accomplished 2 feats that have never been done in the history of the tournament. This team was the first 8th seed to upset the number 1 seed, which broke my heart because that was the Egg Harbor Township Silver Eagles. I'm a proud alma mater.
I'm a mainland alma mater, so you know.
And the first 8 seed to ever win the championship, Cal tournament. In the first game of the tournament, they took the number 1 seeded Egg Harbor Township and defeated them. This was an opponent that they were familiar with, as they already played them twice during the regular season. Although they were 0-2 against them, it was nothing to hang their heads about, as Egg Harbor Township did not lose a game against a Cal team until that game that Mainland beat them 50-38 in round 1 of the playoffs. Round 2 saw the Mustangs matching up against St. Joseph Academy, a team that had also defeated them twice during the regular season, once by over 30 points. Fortunately for them, they redeemed themselves with a 45-35 victory. In the championship game, they were pitted against St. Augustine Prep, a team they had not played during the regular season. It took every second of regulation and overtime to determine a winner, but the Stangs came out on top 58-56 for the first ever Cal Cape Atlantic League Tournament boys basketball title in school history. Coach, you can come up and introduce your boys that are here with you.
First of all, thank you guys ladies and gentlemen, for having us here. Our freshmen are Chase Kamak, Finn Haynes, Rocco DiBiaso, and Nikki Rogers. Our sophomore group, which like Coach Benson and the girls team is quite large, Will LaPointe, Keaton Lowenstern, Steve Nordilli, Cohen Cook, Timmy Traveline, and Jamie Tyson. And Alex Herrera. Our juniors, only one of whom is here, Michael White. The other two, Mwali Oshuni and Sean Williamson, couldn't make it tonight. And then the seniors that were previously mentioned, Noah Myers, Owen Mead, and Christian Rogers.
I think what I'm hearing is I got to call my good friend Coach Bell over at Egg Harbor Township High School and tell him he's going to have to contend with you guys for at least 3 more years.
Oh, we don't want to round them up. We don't round them up.
Oh, now you beat the crap. Woo. Are we good? I don't want to make sure you guys are more important than.
Gotta have it, buddy. Either that or you at least still can't because elbows, everybody got elbows. Oh, yeah, first freshman year.
Just not right now. I got to let you have it to the base panel first.
It's like we'll be seeing these guys again.
Late 80s, yeah. Sideline like this. We had a valid. Yeah, I want to hear it. There you go. Everything's out of word. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Gotta keep popping them out. Chief, yeah, Chief, you don't, unless you want to, be security duty or something.
I'm going back to security.
Okay. Thank you again, Chief.
You better go on.
Okay, and at this time, we're going to have our senator come up with some updates.
Thank you. That's why I'm saying I'm gonna need security here next to Corsi.
He's moving his chair. He's firing bush, don't worry about it.
Won't be the first one. Thanks for having me, Madam Chairwoman and Board. Wanted to come and talk about some things we are working on in Trenton. Obviously, you have seen, I've been there now for 4 or 5 months, whatever it is, and obviously it's a critical time for the region. As some of you know, working in your roles in Atlantic City and certainly the freeholder, the commissioner representing Atlantic City in addition to the at-large freeholders. City has some challenges. New York gaming is on the horizon. Best case scenario, we're talking about 3 or 4 years before New York gaming is approved and we have the competition in New York. So it is a very challenging time and a time when we must all come together, start working together to benefit that city. So this is it. This is like kind of our last chance. We saw the impact of the competition from Pennsylvania. We're going to see the impact when New York gaming starts. When New York gaming starts, there is already clamoring in the legislature about casinos in the Meadowlands, of course. And you saw over the last few years, Senator Brown was very effective in fighting back on North Jersey and Meadowlands casinos. But that conversation is coming back up if New York gaming happens. And so, with the challenges the city has, we really all need to come together across party lines, across different areas. So I come here today to bring up 2 topics that I wanted to talk to you about today. First of which, you saw some of the headlines. Michelle Post did an article today about the Atlantic City Board of Education. Recall back when the state takeover was done in 2016, they took over a lot of the functions of city government. They have oversight of the city itself. They work with the city, they work with the various authorities, and they have point people from the Department of Community Affairs, Local Government Services here on the ground to assist the city of Atlantic City to try to stabilize the city's finances. Didn't realize, I was out, of course, I was out coaching my kids for 10 years, and I myself didn't even realize that when they did that bill in 2016, it did not include direct oversight of the Board of Education. Came to light with this situation with Stockton University, with the boathouse, where there are some questions about what happened with the situation with Stockton being kicked out of the Atlantic City Boathouse, having to go to Brigantine, but that generated some concern. And so when I went to the DCA, Local Government Services, and said, why would you not take a look at that situation and review it and comment on it? They said, well, we don't have any direct oversight of the Board of Education. Went back to Trenton, the Office of Legislative Services, and said, why did that occur? And they said the Department of Education, of course, has monitors, because the aid that the Atlantic City District gets, I think they had 2 monitors, but Local Government Services does not have oversight of the Board of Education. And so there's just a disconnect there. As I said earlier, now is the time to collaborate, to communicate, to work together. And so introduced a bill that would kind of get that collaboration going, where Local Government Services would have oversight of the Atlantic City Board of Education. They would then be able to work with the Department of Education monitors, and I just feel that that is critical. We all know you guys have been in various government positions over your careers. The Board of Education, just about every situation, is the biggest tax burden you have. And so if you are going to try to stabilize city finances, how can you not have oversight of the Board of Education? And so that is the first topic I bring to you today. Had an opportunity to talk to Commissioner Corsi a little bit about it, but that is a topic that is going to continue to come to the surface, because I think it is imperative. If we're going to stabilize the city, and we have 4 years to do it, then we've got to have Local Government Services have oversight of everything. I also just want to push back, there was a comment made in the paper that because I do not reside in area code 08401, that I should not be commenting on issues related to Atlantic City. As president of the Board of Education that made that statement, and I hope that the entire commissioner board here would recognize that we all have a role, regardless of our zip code, to try to do the things that are necessary to support that city, to support the people of that city, to support the tourism industry in that city. The entire region is so dependent on what happens in the city of Atlantic City. Comments like that are just absolutely counterproductive. And so I would, suggest that everybody recognize that regardless of where we reside now, regardless of where we are from, we all pull together and work together. And so that Senate bill is introduced, and I would recommend you guys take a look at it, hopefully support it, because I do think the collaboration is necessary to get that stuff done. Second topic, there was a piece of legislation that came forward last week in committee, and just rewinding with the oversight of the city of Atlantic City. You recall that in 2016 when this occurred, there were 2 options at that time. One was bankruptcy, which, a lot of people did not want to see, but that was one of the options on the table for the city of Atlantic City, because the finances were so bad after so many years of mismanagement. They overassessed the casinos, as you all know. They just artificially generated revenue which shouldn't have been derived, and they put themselves in a position that was perilous. So one option was bankruptcy. Second option was the takeover. Ultimately, of course, under Governor Christie, the takeover happened of the city of Atlantic City finances. Initially 5 years. Governor Murphy, even though he is of the same party as the local elected officials in Atlantic City, has now extended that for another 4 years. What that did, as you probably know, essentially diverted money which had previously gone to the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority to the city of Atlantic City to pay off some of the city's debt service. The city had gotten itself into a situation where the debt was unsustainable. And so we now have taken, since 2016, somewhere in the neighborhood of $222 million from the CRDA to prop up city finances. That, of course, has resulted in a situation where money for projects, for redevelopment, for reinvestment, transportation, marketing, cleanup, safety, all of the things we all talk about Atlantic City needing is not there anymore. It has affected everything that is going on in the city of Atlantic City. There was a bill that came up last week that would divert another, depending on the numbers, somewhere 5 million to 10 million more from the CRDA to the city of Atlantic City. I opposed it because without reinvesting and redeveloping that city, at this point in time, with the additional competition coming, that city is in a perilous spot. All the residents will suffer, the tourism industry will suffer, and so I do not think that now is the time to be diverting any additional money from the CRDA to the city of Atlantic City. So that bill was in committee last week. Had an opportunity to talk to the sponsor, had an opportunity to talk to the administration. I think everybody recognizes that now is not the time to do that. But again, I'm hoping that you will review that. And if you're inclined to do a resolution opposing that piece of legislation. And so it's really twofold. And I come here to you, Democrats, Republicans, everyone in this region, we got to all start communicating and working together because we don't have a whole lot of time with the city of Atlantic City with the additional competition coming. And so that is really the purpose of being here. I thank you for the opportunity to be here. You're probably going to see me more as this plays out because we all got to get on the same page and start calling for the same things, which is really figuring out how can the administration direct more money to the city, whether we can get the money back to the CRDA to start doing some of the projects that are necessary and getting it clean and safe and lit and getting more officers out there, or whether we can get some of the money that is out there from the federal government to reinvest in the city. And so that's really the goal, that's the effort, and hopefully we can all work together to get those goals accomplished.
Thank you, Senator, and we really do appreciate it. As you know, you may not, but you have an open invitation here, and we greatly appreciate you coming and updating us and telling us about these bills. So thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
And everything that you're doing.
Thank you. It's great
Okay.
seeing everybody.
Thank you
Thank you very much. On to Joe Girello.
And we now have our Atlantic County Clerk, Joe Girallo.
Here he is. Madam Chairperson, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to come just to say hello this afternoon, introduce myself to those of you who don't know me. Find the job very exciting. I want to say that the clerk's office is open. I want to extend an invitation to everyone. Come on out and see what we do. I want to thank Commissioner Ballas and Patino. They've already taken the nickel tour. But
Dime.
Okay. I really am here today to say, come on out. The clerk's office is open. I want to explain to everyone what we do. I want to show you what we do. It's an important function. I want to say that our Atlantic City office is open, and we are now full service in Atlantic City, recording deeds. We do notary business, trade names, and fully staffed. Something that hasn't been, something that we've promised. We're seeing many more people walk in, and it's great. The other thing is that the clerk's office does perform weddings. Amy,
Taking my competition
taking your
out of my
competition
planning.
away. We are booked through September right now, and proudly to say that the clerk's office does not charge for weddings. It is free of.
I do.
It's free, okay? And we're there to do that. And just, want everyone to know we're there. I don't care who you are or what you are. Appointments are not necessary for notary swear-ins, business trade names. We still are keeping appointments with passports because when you come in with 5 or 6 people in your family to do passports, it does eat up a lot of time. We just don't want to have people, be there longer than they need to be. So I'll give you my cell phone number, 609-839-8732. 24/7, I answer the phone. We're there. If you have any questions as we go along, we're going to begin to get busy. As we all know, petitions are due on Monday, and ballots will begin to be formulated. And things have worked out well. I want to thank administration. Jerry and administration has been very, very good to our needs and where we're going. And the building's coming along. And thank you. If there's ever any questions, please feel
Thanks,
free to
Joe.
call.
And I think it's important that people like you, we thank you as well as, we did the senator for coming here and just giving us updates. And I know as we get into the busy season, we might have to break you away a little bit and give us updates
I
there as well.
certainly am available at any time. That's what we're
Thank
here
you.
for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you leave the podium, you mentioned all those good services that's continuing through your department. I did not hear you mention anything about if folks need to come get identification made.
Okay, identification, we're doing identification only for veterans. And the reason all county clerks, and I've attended county clerks meetings now throughout the state, have stopped with doing the ID is because of the real ID law that came about. Meaning we would have to do a background check in order to issue an ID. And the office at the current time is not set up to do that.
So do you see it?
It's something I would hope to do, but we would, right now, real ID, no clerk's offices are really doing it because you have to do a 10-point background check.
When you say no clerk's office, I want to be clear. That's not
County clerk,
county
clerks,
Let's be very
county clerk's offices throughout the state. And I do attend co-managed meetings and have been asking the question because we get a lot of calls for IDs. Unfortunately, that's where everyone is right now. We're going to continue to have the discussion because I think that it's important because there's people that just can't get IDs down at motor vehicle, you name it. So it's not off the table, but we're seeing as a group how this is going to happen. Okay. And it's something I'm working on. I can tell you that because I think it's important. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now that brings us to bond ordinance number 1.
Bond orders providing for various improvements to county libraries in the county of Atlantic, state of New Jersey, appropriating $4,327,773, therefore, including grants received or expected to be received from the New Jersey State Library Construction Bond Act program, and authorizing the issuance of $2,163,886.50 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof. Final reading.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair, just to again highlight, this is an investment in our library system. We're receiving a significant amount of grant monies in accordance with this as well, and this is going to help us to upgrade HVAC systems and things like that within the library system, which is all part of kind of moving forward in a post-COVID world. To make sure we're keeping the airflow, clean and safe. So a lot of good work going on here.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, I've gotten some really nice comments from the people that work within about this going on, so they're very happy about it. Do we have any other commissioner comments? Anything from the public? Nope. Seeing and hearing none, we'll have roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to ordinance number 2.
An ordinance establishing salary ranges for various county government officials and employees and establishing annual cost of living adjustments. Final reading.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any comments from the commissioners? Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
I just have a couple of questions. So we're approving ranges of salaries now. Who and how decides exact salaries for a person?
Under normal circumstances, you'll look. The department heads and division directors, that's usually decided by the staff that would be doing the interviews along with the executive.
And who decides his salary?
The executive salary, typically, it's probably a discussion internal to the county government. I mean, probably, we as an example, when Denny started, he took the existing salary.
Right.
I mean, he literally could have asked for,
Who does he ask,
150,000.
Jerry? That's my question. Who does he ask?
He came in and said, what was the last executive making, and he took that salary.
No, for increases or a different salary. Who would he ask?
Oh, right now, I mean, he would probably come to us and say, what do you think? He's done that in the past.
Okay.
I'm telling you, that's.
So other leadership in the administration?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, and
Yeah.
can I get another one in there?
Absolutely.
And if you read the ordinance too, it says, no one on board, if you're within the range, right now, you're not gonna get it, you're not getting an increase. I think we've explained it to the budget subcommittee, the only people that would be impacted by this, we do, I think I mentioned either 2 or 3 of the individuals we have, department heads, division directors. There's at least one that's woefully low that we need to do something about, which we will do when this passes. The other 2 are very close. We'd probably bring them to the beginning of the range for them.
And my other question is, are there any full-time employees left who are making less than $15 an hour?
You're talking about
Hourly employees?
in county government in
In
general.
county government.
There are, and that's one of the reasons for this salary ordinance. We've been moving.
Because next year it's
That's correct.
15, right?
I
Or is it
believe
2
it's
years?
2 years. It's
Okay.
2 years.
Okay.
We're trying to get as close. We're trying to get as close to 15 as we can now.
Right.
But the reason for this salary ordinance was because of that. We've been moving all the unions as their contracts open. We've been moving middle management because unions are moving into middle management. Now middle management is moving into upper management. And with upper management, I think I explained to the budget subcommittee, we had one position open. It's not really a division director, but it is a very high responsibility in county government. And the individual who came in was 165, 185, 155, and 145. Those were the asking numbers for that job. We started the person that we selected, we told them we were going to start them at 110, and that's what we did. And the person took the job. I mean, it was a while before they took the job. I'm only saying and I'm assuming they took the job because it was exciting to them. I mean, that's my understanding. I didn't sit through that particular interview, and I normally would have. I was not able to sit through the interview. The person was excited by the fact that they've heard about our facility. They've walked through the facility. They've seen some of the things that we've done. They spoke to the individual who was the administrator there. And I think it was an opportunity that they didn't want to turn away from. So that's why they took it. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do I have any other, Commissioner?
Madam Chair, if I can, just to give a little bit of background, because I don't know if we actually did that yet, but we've been working on this in the budget subcommittee. I believe all the other commissioners have also gotten a briefing as well. Several of these ranges in this ordinance have not been updated, in some cases in decades. The earliest one was a decade ago, so obviously times have changed, and especially now in the post-COVID world, we are seeing a shift in the workforce, and in order to stay competitive, this is necessary. We're also making updates to some constitutional officers. I know we did comparisons throughout the state to make sure that we were doing things reasonable. I think we should be transparent and say the Board of Commissioners is in here. We're making, I think, 20 grand right now. We kept our minimum range at 20 grand. It's not like we're giving ourselves some kind of big promotion over here. I don't think we get in it for the money. But I don't want anybody saying that that we are doing anything under a veil of silence. But it was much needed updates, and I think we all agree that they were reasonable ranges to help us stay competitive in the world we're in.
Any other?
Did I not see that the commissioner range starts now at 21.5?
For the chairperson.
Okay, great, thank you. 'Cause I didn't want to see that.
Any other comments from the commissioners? Anything from the public?
So, Madam Chair, if I may, so let me through you to Jerry, and I've said this a couple times in the last couple meetings when the unions have showed up and about the hazard pay and made it very clear, listen, we're not gonna win that battle. We can't make the administration do anything. The proper opportunity now is because contracts are ended and contract negotiation, and we as commissioners have come up with an ordinance through the administration to begin raising salaries and ranges. That does not say that they still can't come to the table to talk about some kind of negotiation and contract in the new contract negotiation. So I tried to explain that to a couple of the unions because they kept going. I said, well, y'all don't understand. We're moving salaries. We're going into ranges. But whatever you're asking, you need to talk to the administration now because contracts are expired and see where they meet in the middle. They may get, they may not. I mean, but everybody's not going to be happy. And the old saying is nobody's going to get 100% of anything. but I think it was a good effort, good step on behalf of the administration and the commissioners to move forward with this ordinance. Not only is Atlantic County probably one of the lowest paid counties around and employee-wise, we see the same thing happening in the city. We're losing employees. They get the training, whether it's a 911 communication operator, they go to another municipality for additional $5,000, $10,000. It's very critical because they are in a position where it's mandatory overtime, et cetera, and you can't leave, and they stress. People leaving because there's no money. And the biggest thing is now you find it, is keeping folks with CDL license. That's seemed to have been a big thing, and I've always commended the county because one of the incentives in the county has always been if you have your CDL, first of all, it's mandatory, you get a CDL, you keep it in good standards, you get no points and tickets, at the end of the year you get $1,000 bonus. That ain't a bad gauge, right? So there's been some incentives along the way, and we try to implement some of that stuff in the city as well, because we realize from the city's perspective, it's hard to find one good employee, and now you're getting folks with no driver's license. Don't take my word, look at ACUA. They can't pay enough to get somebody with a CDL license. But again, we commend the administration for moving forward with this ordinance. And it's been a long process, as Amy said, to get to where we're at today. So everybody's not gonna be happy, but we'll go here. We'll go from here. So,
Thank you, Commissioner.
I wanted to say that to Jerry because I knew Jerry's been in contact with the unions, and we don't want unions to think we just sitting around fumbling our daggone thumbs and nothing's getting done. We heard them. We're trying to move to the next level.
Yeah, and I commend everybody that put this together because we do know that this took a lot of work to get to this point. So I thank the Budget Committee. I thank everybody in the administration that got this done. Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Rutino?
Yes.
Forsy?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Brings us to ordinance number 3 for the first reading.
Ordinance authorizing acquisition of an easement for parcels of property designated as Block 223, Lots 1 and 2 on the tax map of the Township of Hamilton for the reconstruction of bridge structure HML-18 over Skulls Run along Weymouth Road by means of agreements or by condemnation pursuant to NJSA 48:12-1 and following, and NJSA 20:3-1 and following. First reading.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing hearing none, I'll roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Rutino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to our resolutions, and we'll start with the budget, Resolution 82.
Introduction of the 2022 Atlantic County budget, first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners?
So, Madam Chair, just on behalf of the Budget Committee, I think, number one, we're proud of where the budget has landed. We remained conservative, still waiting on the results of the pilot 2.0. I don't even know what, it's not an appeal, I know, but whatever negotiations are going on to figure out what we're gonna get. We put in, what is currently in the law for now, and we'll have to adjust as things change there. But I do want to thank, as we always do, our financial professionals and team in the county did a really great job getting all of this together. I know it's been a lot of moving parts. So I don't know if anybody else from the Budget Committee wants to add in.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to commend administration as well for putting this budget together. I'm always elated when we can reduce the rate a little bit. We're going down 1.6 cents, which is something. It's not as much as we had hoped, but it's something. And it's something when you look at your total tax bill and you look at the county portion, the municipal portion, the boards of education, if you have a regional board or local board of education, they're faced many times with tremendous challenges, particularly boards of education. So if we can go down 1.6 cents on our end, that helps the taxpayer. And it does mean real money. It's $48 on a $300,000 home. So it's something. and part of the total bill, and the administration has done a great job.
Anything else?
Madam Chair?
Yep.
Yeah, so, again, just want to, congratulate the administration, the budget team on a really good budget. But I just have, it's great that it's going down, but my issue is we've learned over this whole COVID pandemic that we've had from many employees. Probably 100 employees come in here, and we have agreed, administration's agreed, and they've pleaded that they need pay increases. And they're some of the lowest paid, and yeah, we just passed the ordinance that takes care of the unaffiliated, the members that are not represented by the union, the ones that are making more than these people. And it's just a shame that we can't add a little bit of extra, even if it means that we're at a zero instead of a reduction, to make sure that there's money in the budget to take care of our most important, our most desired asset that we have here in the county, which is our employees. They're going backwards, and yeah, they'll save a little bit of money on their tax bill, but when you hear so many employees talk about they can't put food on their table, they can't put gas in their car, and gas prices keep going up, everything is going up. It's hard. It's bittersweet. It's great that the budget is reduced, but we need to take care of our employees.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. To your point, obviously you've given this some thought. So I was curious if you have numbers that you think we should recommend to administration or through the budget committee to go back to administration to discuss, so we know what the impact's going to be. Do you have any idea of what you're proposing that we do different, so we know we're fair across the board and treat everybody equally the same? There were a lot of groups, that 20+ bargaining groups, that settled for, and we've had this discussion, they settled for particular numbers. We had a couple that weren't satisfied, and it's not a one size fits all. But I was curious, since you're making the statement, I'm thinking you may have some idea of what you think we should be doing as far as helping these employees so they catch up to a level. You have any thoughts on that?
Well, it's just not that easy. It's very complicated, as management knows, and as our county council knows. To open a contract is very difficult. Okay, but the ones that are open now, if we can look to, incentivize their pay a little bit more than what the normal 2% is.
You're figuring as we go forward through negotiations for the next step that we're getting
as the
to,
contract's expired. Jerry, how many contracts are up this year?
Well, I think we're negotiating around 7 or 8 now. I just want to make sure, I don't want this to get mixed up here. The people that came in and talked to us was AFSCME and CWA. I just want to make sure we understand. And the CWA and the AFSCME, 2 of them are in the same department. One is in a separate department. But AFSCME is AFSCME. Same. You had to go to the state with AFSCME. It's the same identical, executive director, vice president, whatever. It's the same group of individuals, and they have the same board. So I want to make sure. On the salaries, we've been moving the salaries. I want to make sure everybody understands that. So the salaries have been moving. All of them have been moving, and some of the settlements have been pretty good. So let's talk about this. Nobody settles for 2%. We haven't been at 2%. So let's talk about one of the other issues that we do with the unions, while they don't always agree until they get their first paycheck, is that jurisdictions, counties, municipalities, and the state are allowed to work on the health benefits. So if you look at the health benefits, we're supposed to select like 5 different, there's like 20 of them. There's like 5 that we've selected. We've been recommending, we've landed on 20, 30. So if you are making around $50,000, I don't know the exact numbers, but if you went to 20, 30, you would automatically make roughly another $1,500 in your salary, because you would be paying less toward what the payment is to that your pro rata share. So that's another issue that's been going on. So they get more money in their pay because of the health benefits, and they get more money because we've been settling at a much higher rate. I mean, I would probably tell you we're probably anywhere between 2.8 and probably 4% on contracts. And that, it's not too bad when you're also, when you go to 2030 or depending on where you are, making another, let's say, $750 to maybe $1,500. It's not too bad. So we have kept that up. The issue that that keeps getting raised is this premium pay. It's totally irrelevant to this conversation because depending on what they decided to do, they could get $500 on their salary if they wanted to do that, which carries forward. Now at the last meeting, two of the units both asked me. One at the nursing home and one at Family and Community Development talked about their salaries. Their union contract, and Commissioner and I had this conversation the other day. Their contract is open. It's been open since December. After the last meeting, I went to our labor negotiator, Jennifer. We had this conversation, and Jennifer wrote them in to say, she wrote the vice president to say, look, we don't want to get into, I'm not going to say anything publicly because what I'm not supposed to do is I don't want any unfair labor practices. So now that we've actually discussed with the unions, I'm at least at liberty to at least say this. We wrote them, we told them that the contract was open, and you should be making an offer to us. Your staff are coming to the meetings. We're not negotiating premium pay, it's not a negotiable item. I think I wrote you all today to tell you the final rule says counties, municipalities may provide if they want to a premium pay. But salaries are negotiable, and we want them to negotiate with us. We're asking them to negotiate, so that's what we did. And they did say, they admitted to us, Jennifer, that that they need to submit a proposal. And that's where we are.
Okay, Madam Chair. So Jerry, and I know exactly what you're talking about. The purpose of the employees that came here was the hazard pay or premium pay, whatever you want to call it. But as a result of them coming here, the conversation that they had was about their base salary, what they make. Okay, and and that's where we're at. I mean, I'm not a big fan of percentage raises because somebody who's making $140,000 and gets 2% is not the same as somebody who's making $30,000 and gets 2%. It's the gap just keeps continuing to grow and grow and grow. I would be more in favor of saying, listen, every employee is going to get whatever it equals out to be, $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000 or $20, whatever it is. But the person that's making $150,000 shouldn't get a $6,000 raise compared to the person who's making $30,000 that's getting a $1,000 raise. You know what I mean? And with percentages, and I know when you negotiate a contract, it's all about the percent per se, the overall percent of the increase to that unit.
Right.
But it always works out that each employee then it's broken down to they get a certain piece of that pie, a percentage. And what I'm saying is administration has a concept of what they want to spend, what they want to offer, and that's put into the budget. If it just means the budget going up a little bit to make sure that pie is just a little bit bigger, and we take care of, like I said, to me, our employees are our most important asset that we have here in the county. We need to take care of them.
And Madam Chair, if I can, I mean, all due respect, I don't want anybody to think that's not the opinion of the rest of the board.
No, I know.
Commissioner. Okay, because we did say that in our budget meetings, okay? That was definitely a discussion that we
The
had.
budget committee, you don't get all the scoop.
Yeah, but I don't want anybody to think that wasn't discussed. It isn't something that it is something that is important to us. And so, I think as the contracts go through negotiation, that would be something we would consider for the next budget. How does that fit in? So I just don't want that point to get lost, that was and is a priority for the budget committee and for this budget.
Right, thank you. Exactly. But I only have one mouth. I can only speak for myself.
Okay,
and
but it was
2 years
sounding like
I haven't heard it from anybody else. So
Well, that means you're not listening because every meeting
I'm
we
not at the
talk
budget
about.
meeting.
Say it again.
I wasn't at the budget meeting.
Even up here, we talk about that.
Right.
We talked about these union raises. This ain't new. And so what happens is, I think like Amy said, we agree At the
I
end
think
of the day,
I think we're all on the same page.
But at the end of the day, you would agree with me. We can't make the administration do anything.
You're
We can
exactly
suggest
right.
and recommend, right?
Exactly.
And I'm always a firm believer. And I say this all the time. It depends on who's running when is an election. It determines what your damn salaries look like. It's unfortunate.
I wouldn't agree with that.
Oh, you don't have to agree with that's my opinion.
Of course.
Right? And so what happens is, even if you're preparing yourself to run for office down the road, you start talking about this kind of stuff. But this is not new to the budget committee. We fought with the administration before you even got here about these raises and how low they are paid. And that's why I made the comment, Alice, about not only here at the county, but on the city level, we have the same problem. And you're right. And we're losing good employees, countywide, statewide. We're just losing good employees because of the salary gaps. And look, listen, I'm gonna use you for an example. When you was a constitutional officer, you stood right before this committee and you argued about a raise. And most of us fought to try to get you that raise. We couldn't make the administration give it to you. What came out of that meeting was that we talked about 2% raises for employees. But somewhere they tell us there was an ordinance where the county executive and them had a different percentage for their raises. And my understanding, I don't know if it's accurate, my understanding was at the end of the day, this board could have removed that ordinance, which gave the county executive and the administrator and everybody else that percentage. We could have changed it. We never did that. But again, if you're making 140, that person making 140 can't relate to that joker that's making 25.5. You can't relate to him because you got a pension. You're probably getting Social Security now.
No.
But
no, but thank you.
No, but Frank, all jokes aside, I understand exactly what you're saying, and I think we all have that same echo. But we can't make the administration. But the unions have to come to the table too.
Right.
At the end of the day, where do you meet in the middle of the road? Because nobody's getting 100%.
You're correct, sir.
Agreed 100%.
So I just want to let you know, we didn't sleep at the switch.
Right, you're saying the same thing I'm saying.
Okay, no, you're saying the same thing we've been saying.
You got it.
Okay.
Just one issue, I want you to read the ordinance. The ordinance, our prior ordinance allowed for upper management in that ordinance to take 3.5%, even in bad times. We never took it.
Right.
We went to the executive, I mean, I think we said this publicly, and if I didn't say it publicly then I'll take the hit. But I know I said this early on. None of us, we went to the executive and said, none of us are going to take the 3.5. We told all the department heads and division directors, even though the ordinance says that, we're taking 2%. The executive said, you're not taking more, you will never get more than the lower line employee. Right. I mean, if you've ever talked to the executive, he will not allow. He does not allow that. If you're going to take 4%, everybody gets 4%. If you're taking 2, everybody gets 2. That's his philosophy. So I'm only telling you, we never took that.
Whoa. I didn't accuse you of taking it. I said the ordinance said. So I want to be very clear.
Oh, I know. I knew you didn't.
Okay. I want to be clear. But I remember that conversation. A number of times you've made that clear, but y'all wasn't taking it. I was just speaking to the fact that when Frank talked about raises, et cetera, I had to take him down memory lane when he came as a constitutional officer. I just had to, I had to remind you.
Okay, I think it's apparent with the ordinance and what you're saying about the budget committee that we are looking, we're on it. We're trying to move forward and do the right thing. Any other comments from our commissioners? Prior to going to public, does administration have anything? What?
I'm good.
Oh, did you have something to say?
Well, I was just wondering what 1.6 cents equals in dollars. Do we know that? Can we know?
Well, a $300,000 home is $48.
Right, but I mean in total, how many dollars is it?
A penny is $3.5 million. Penny's
So $4 million we're talking
so
about.
like 60% of $3.5 million.
So $4 million could really go a long way to pump up some low-level employees' salaries if we were to keep a flat budget.
I'm not going to get into negotiations, but suffice to say, we have money in the budget. We were able to take the 1.6 and still feel comfortable with what we're willing to negotiate.
Right, yeah, I mean,
They have
and
something to say.
administration's one that really started it, said we need to do something about the salaries and these wages, so thank you. But I don't, does administration have anything else they want to say on the budget before we go?
No, I'm very, the budget committee.
So that's right, first reading. So, that, you're good?
Good, yeah.
Okay, Bonnie, anything you wanted to say? Okay, well, roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Can you take public comment?
No, not on the first
Not on
reading.
the first reading, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bertino?
Recused.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, that brings us to Resolution 83.
Atlantic County Public Health Annual Budget Notice 2022, first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public?
First reading.
Yeah, 83 is first, 83?
Yes.
First
These are all-
reading it
They
is.
all
You're right, you're right.
First.
You are correct. Okay,
And
that's
it's
fine.
down.
Okay, well, roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 84.
Atlantic County Library Annual Budget Notice 2022, first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 85.
Resolution to exceed the county budget appropriation limits and to establish a 2022 CAT bank, NJSA 48:4-45.14, first reading.
Motion.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair, if I- just to say that all of our kind of budget committee related comments kind of speak to all of these. That's why I'm not commenting on each one individually. This is all kind of part of the budget process, so that, just wanted to make mention of that.
Thank you. Any other commissioner comments? Seeing, hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 86 for the first reading.
Resolution adopting the tax levy cap to be applied to the 2022 county budget.
Motion.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 87.
Calendar year 2022 resolution authorizing county entity to exceed the county entity budget request cap, Public Law 2015, C-249.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to our grants with Resolution 128.
Amending Resolution Number 582 adopted November 9, 2021, a grant acceptance from the state fiscal year from the State of New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, Office of the Attorney General for the state fiscal year 21 body worn camera grant program to include subaward number 21-BWC-010, no additional cost.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 129.
Amending Resolution Number 291 adopted July 7, 2020, a grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey State Council on the Arts for the local arts program, amount not to exceed $1,006,999.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Just one thing. We don't have any representation on this board south of Ocean County. And maybe the commissioners could write a letter. I've been trying to get people on that council for 4 years from Atlantic County. Yeah.
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 I'll sponsor a resolution with you. We can work on that for the
Okay,
next.
great.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Thank you.
Yeah, they have to do a
Appreciate
letter
it.
with that as well.
Get a lot of lip
Yeah, that's a
service,
good
but
point.
no action.
Good point.
From the state of New Jersey?
It's hard to believe.
Stop.
Any other comments for the commissioners? Anything for the public?
Yes, we will. It's not.
Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to resolution 130.
Amending Resolution Number 12, adopted January 14, 2020, a grant application to the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the fiscal year 20 annual transportation plan to include additional projects, no additional costs.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments for the commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Brings us to resolution 131.
Resolution authorizing the Atlantic County Utilities Authority to accept a grant from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection for the 2021 recycling tonnage municipal grant, amount not to exceed $111,867.28.
Motion.
Motion made second. Any comments for the commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Brings us to resolution 132.
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey State Library grant funding for the A. Carver Township Library. Funded amount $549,013.50. County in-kind match $549,013.50.
Motion.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 133, please.
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey State Library grant funding for the Galloway Township Library. Funded amount $920,661. County in-kind match $920,661.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 134.
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey State Library grant funding for the Mays Landing Library. Funded amount $694,212. County in-kind match $694,212.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments for the commissioners?
I'd just like to echo what Commissioner Gatto said about these three grants that we just, or these three resolutions that we just passed, that the grants are to go to updating our library system with HVAC units, backup generators, and as well as getting hotspots for our library. So it's necessary upgrades so that the public knows what it is this money is going to be used for. So they have some major projects that are already going on right now in our libraries. So that's what it's going to be.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome.
Any other comments from the commissioners? Seeing here none, anything from the public? We'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 135.
Grant agreement with the South Jersey Transportation Authority for the fiscal year 2023 Sub-Regional Transportation Planning Work Program. Funded amount $113,600. County in-kind match $28,400.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to professional service agreements with Resolution 136.
Amending Resolution Number 58, adopted February 15, 2022, a professional services agreement with Traffic Planning and Design Incorporated to provide inspection services for the resurfacing of Ocean Heights Avenue, County Route 559A, Section 4 and 5, in Egg Harbor Township and Hamilton Township to remove pay-to-play language based on federal funding, no additional cost.
Motion. Second.
Motion been made and second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair, we have a couple of these, I think, on today's agenda. It's all based on federal funding. For some reason, they don't allow pay-to-play language to be in there, which you think they would want it, but, so we have to take the actual wording out to be able to use the federal funding.
Thank you. Any other comments from the commissioners? Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 137.
Amending Resolution Number 62 adopted February 15, 2022, a professional service agreement for alcoholism treatment services to add Hendricks House Group to the list of vendors. No additional cost.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, well, roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to competitive contracts with Resolution 138.
Renewal competitive contract with Jewish Family Services for the provision of discharge planning and reentry services to inmates of the Atlantic County Justice Facility. Amount not to exceed $628,098.98.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to bid contracts with Resolution 139.
Amending Resolution Number 40, adopted February 1, 2022, a bid contract with Arawak Paving Company Incorporated for the resurfacing of Ocean Heights Avenue, County Route 559A, Section 4 and 5 in Egg Harbor Township and Hamilton Township to remove pay-to-play language based on federal funding. No additional costs.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? No. Okay, we'll have roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 140, please.
Renewal bid contract with satellite tracking of people for the provision of GPS home electronic equipment and services for the Atlantic County Justice Facility. Amount not to exceed $40,094.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 141.
Renewal bid contract with various vendors for sanitation of various county buildings, amount not to exceed $101,470.97.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 142.
Bid contract with various vendors to furnish and deliver non-perishable food to the Department of Human Services, amount not to exceed $455,321.84.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 143.
Bid contract with various vendors to furnish and deliver janitorial and custodial supplies to members of the Atlantic County Cooperative. Amount not to exceed $398,174.14.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to change orders with Resolution 144.
Change order number 2 and final, a contract with Arthur R. Henry Incorporated for the drainage rehabilitation program on various county roads. Net increase $45,800 $97.30.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair, just so my buddy feels good over here. These two are both to reflect the final as-used materials. That's what the change order is for.
So
Or if anybody else wanted to know.
she just wanted to stop me at the pay.
I did.
Okay, any other comments from the commissioners? Seeing here none, anything from the public? Okay, well, roll call.
Ballas.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 145.
Change order number 2 and final, a contract with AE Stone Incorporated for the resurfacing of English Creek Avenue sections 1A and 1B in Egg Harbor Township. Net decrease $31,015.13.
Motion.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair, I like this one better.
Any other comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi.
Yes.
Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. It brings us to miscellaneous resolutions, and we'll start with Resolution 146.
Resolution approving the selection of a conflict municipal prosecutor and a conflict municipal public defender to serve in the Central Municipal Court of Atlantic County.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas.
Yes.
Bertino.
Yes.
Corsi. Days.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Gatto.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Risley.
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 147.
Shared services agreement with Cape May County for public health officer services for Atlantic County. Amount not to exceed $42,000.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Yes, I've commented on this before, and I want to know what our total is that we're up to now. Is it $80,000 or $100,000?
Oh, we're not even close to that. We were at, started in October, so it's 10, 10, 10. Right, that's 30,000. And starting January, it's 7, 7, 7. So you have 30 and 21.
So if we had 30 in 2021, and this
Yes.
is for 42,
It's for 42, 4 to 6 months.
right?
So
But it's still $72,000.
that's if we, I mean, I'm pretty sure Kara's gonna pass the exam, so it would end. We did this, if you remember, and maybe you weren't on at the time, Commissioner. Well, this is for 6 months. The test is, I believe, at the beginning of May. So we're just, if she passes the test, we'll be notified, and then, we would end the contract, which we've had that conversation with Cape May. So I would tell you it's the 30, at least a minimum, of another 28, and then we see what happens in May. So, I mean, to your
Do you have a plan B?
I mean,
Do we have a plan B?
for us, a plan B?
Yeah.
Yeah, the plan would be to probably continue, because we believe she should pass the test. We don't.
No, I mean, if, and this has nothing to
Yeah,
do with
right.
the people involved.
Right.
But if May comes and goes
Right.
and nothing has changed, what's the
Right.
plan?
Well, we would probably have to look to hire a public health officer. We have no choice, right? If you
Right, I don't know how you
Exactly.
hired someone who didn't have the credential to begin with.
Well, it's easy to do that because, as we've explained to you, she is the division director, which means she's running the entire division. So let's talk about this again. So we have a division of public health. The division of public health doesn't require a public health license. Atlantic County's made a decision that our division director should hold a public license. So I'm saying to you, we have a division director, and I will tell you this: if we went out and got a public health license today, you're not getting anybody for less than $150,000. I'm
I
gonna be quite
understand
honest
that.
with you. So if you're saying to me, we have a division director making whatever she's making, plus a public health officer at making 150, and we wouldn't, I gotta be very honest, we wouldn't have hired anybody at 150 because we have people working 20 years that have, and I wanna be clear on this, have a lot more experience and a lot more responsibility than the public health officer.
My concern is that this wasn't a surprise. In our retirements surprises, I mean, it doesn't seem like there was planning. She could have passed the test last May. and been ready to jump into the seat.
Well, yeah, and I think we went through, a conversation that when we went through our pandemic, they did not have the tests
available.
I don't think she
And-
could have passed it.
No,
I don't
they
think they were
didn't have
offering
the
it.
They didn't have
tests
the test during
available.
the COVID.
I think
And
it's
they,
been 2
and they
years.
only give them,
Right.
they only give them twice a year, is that
Correct.
correct?
Right.
So they
Correct.
didn't have them when they were going through this, so in her defense, she was the one, she's, very,
Yes.
knowledgeable and, she was the one.
And then I want to be clear, I also want to, we did not have a year's notice on the prior public health officer. It wasn't like I had,
Yeah.
I want to even be clear on this, but it couldn't be more than 4 months when we found out that she was going to retire. And again, I can't discuss her personal
No,
issues, but
that's
bottom
Well,
line
yeah.
is that's the
Yeah.
time, that was the time.
Yeah, and she worked very hard
Yes, she
during
did.
the pandemic.
So Madam
No
Chair,
pressure,
if I-
Karen.
So
No
if I may, just let me, I'm sorry, did you
Yeah.
hear something?
Oh, I said no pressure to Karen.
So I just want to reiterate also to my colleague that when Jerry and the administration attempted to use Atlantic City's health officer in exchange for the Cape May County, after a number of meetings, he did not meet the qualifications that the county was looking for. So we thought that was going to be an end because when Atlantic City was in problem, the county stepped in. We thought we would be able to reciprocate that.
So that would be like an in-kind
I
transaction.
don't know about the in-kind, but it didn't happen. Right? So, to your point, I understand exactly what you're saying, but sometimes when you get promoted, something just fall in your lap. And I even called, and we had this conversation on this dais, I even called the state of New Jersey, seeing if there was a way to move the test up. And the answer was no.
Correct.
It was May and whatever the other month
Yeah,
was.
November.
So it wasn't like it wasn't for folks trying to get it done, because one of the things you have been harping on is about the additional salaries of pay that we're paying the Cape May County, and point well taken, you can't make the state do what the state won't do.
Right.
And if they're only offering it twice a year, everybody's fingers is crossed that the young lady passes. Hope there is no alternatives. And if it is, unfortunately, we just have to be prepared for the alternative. That means we keep engaging with Cape May County or somebody until she's able to pass it. But that doesn't stop her, as Jerry indicated, from being the division head director. So I get it. And it's not the person.
No,
So we don't want to make
not
it,
at all.
it's the person. It's just
It's the process.
unfortunately, yeah,
That's all,
they
just the process.
didn't require her to have it to be the director of that department. So I hope she passes and get it over with. But the state, we did, and I mean, I don't know how many conversations I've had with Jerry. And we went back and forth with our solicitor, our BA, trying to work out something with our health officer. It just didn't work out.
As well as going to the state, which was,
That is correct.
yeah, so okay. Any other comments from the commissioners? Okay, anything from the public? Okay, well, roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Okay.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to resolution 148.
Amending resolution number 641 adopted November 23, 2021, an interlocal agreement with the Atlantic County Improvement Authority to bid and manage the construction of a new rear deck and an ADA exterior lift at the Green Tree Golf Course Clubhouse. Net increase $35,866.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner
Real quick,
Corsi.
through you to Jerry. Jerry, are we making any money out of here yet? Because we're putting a lot of money in.
Yeah,
But the question is, are we getting anything out of it? I mean, it's a nice golf course. I rode by it the other day, but.
yeah, the last couple of years, we've actually been making money, yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I would probably say we're maybe $250,000.
Okay, we're making money.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. It's good to make improvements, but I just want to know we were making some money. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, well, roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 149.
Amending resolution number 593 adopted November 17, 2020. An interlocal agreement with the Atlantic County Improvement Authority to provide project management services for certain improvements at Green Tree Golf Course. Net increase $1,200.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing here none, anything for the public? Quiet public. Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 150.
Amending Resolution Number 441, adopted August 17, 2021, an interlocal agreement with the Township of Galloway for snow removal, street sweeping, and lawn maintenance at the Galloway Township branch of the Atlantic County Library. Net increase $4,317.01.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing here none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 151, please.
Interlocal agreement with the City of Brigantine for the design, construction, and jurisdictional control of the proposed streetscape improvements along Brigantine Boulevard, County Route 638.
Motion.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair?
Oh, I think Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Is this the lighthouse?
Yes. Yes,
Yes?
yes. John is on, Mr. Peterson is on, he was involved with, their presentation. John, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
This is not the actual change of the Lighthouse Circle. This is grant money that Brigantine received through the state for landscape and streetscape treatments from basically where Brigantine Avenue and Brigantine Boulevard come together back to the lighthouse. So that it's money they got, and this is required. This agreement is required because they need to get certain things done that are not standard construction. Plus, there needs to be title licensing through the state that we have to. The title license will be in our name because the right of way remains in the county's ownership. But all the improvements that they're doing, they have to get a change of that, or actually buy the title licenses in order to do the project. So it is not the actual Lighthouse Circle itself. There's discussions with the town on that, and Jerry could discuss that if he wanted to. But this is strictly for their project where they've gotten grant money and we've given them the approval to go ahead and do those improvements.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Ballas?
Well, that was pretty much my same question, but does this also tie into the improvements to the Center Island, the upgrades for from Atlantic City Electric? Does any of this tie into that? Okay.
It does not.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Any other?
Yeah, if I can, I just want to say that I spoke with Mayor Starr Brigantine this morning, and he said the city signed off on this, and that they're good with the agreement and ready to go.
Good to know.
And he also acknowledged last night that they were having the conversation on the White House things that we just talked about.
And the others.
Thank you. Any other
Before you
commissioner?
went to school, after school, you talked on this job.
Any other commissioner comments? Seeing here none, anything for the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 152.
Interlocal agreement with the New Jersey Juvenile Justice Commission, Office of Education, to provide educational services at Harvard Fields Detention Center. Amount not to exceed $647,992.
Move.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Brings us to resolution 153.
Acceptance of deeds, easements from various grantors in accordance with Atlantic County planning standards.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. This is to Resolution 154.
Resolution authorizing Atlantic County to utilize the competitive contract process for the installation and advertising on billboards and message boards on Atlantic County property.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair. We discussed this in the Budget and Administration Committee yesterday morning. This is just exploratory. There's potential that there could be some locations along our right-of-ways where we could potentially put some message boards, whether they're digital or not, that could be revenue generating. I don't think we're making any decisions on that right now, but we're going to allow the process to get the information, see what the opportunities are, and then, certainly come back for further discussion on that.
Great, thank you very much. Any other comments from the commissioners?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just curious on it, because I know we've had the discussion in the past. I had wine growers come here a few years ago, wanted to put signs in county rights of ways, and they wanted to use it for commercial purposes, and we didn't have a mechanism in place. So we're starting to, I guess this is the beginning to start the conversation, but I think we have to be clear.
Yes.
Are we doing this as a, how do you dictate which areas? Are you going to designate specific locations? Are you going to talk about if it's commercial use? What type of use? Is it informational boards that you're using that's information to the public, or is it strictly just for people to take advantage to put a billboard cheaper because they don't want to pay to go on the big billboard? So we're going to have to be very careful with this and how you do it. Are they lighted boards? What's the illumination on the boards that you're putting along the sides of the road? I don't even have to tell you all that. So it's very slippery stuff that you're getting into with this when you're talking about signage along the shoulders of the road in county controlled right away where you're given authorization to put them there.
Just so you,
All
just so
things
you.
we mentioned we need to be cautious
The
about.
Scared
budget
about it a
the
little
budget subcommittee went through that, and just one other issue, it's not in our ordinance now, so in order to even begin those conversations, we'd have to come back with an ordinance change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of them gonna be in Hammond.
Commissioner Days.
Yeah, I mean, as a follow, I'm assuming that the department, the DOT has to be on board with this as well, correct? Or, so I mean, I know when Upseekin, I asked for permission to put a 9/11 memorial sign up that, county went to the state said, no, we can't do it, so. And that was just to advertise the memorial that's on the state register, 9/11 memorial, so.
Jimmy will answer that. Our process is one thing. Somebody came to us and said, we think you got 375 miles of road. We think you can make money by putting up signs. We're saying we don't, and I can tell you, planning has already told us, don't go down that slippery slope. But we've elected to at least see what we think is, what somebody thinks is out there, and then we review it.
Sure, I mean, I don't have a problem with exploring, I'm just, I've seen still, they couldn't put up a 9/11 memorial sign, so just curious where we're headed, but I'm explore.
Where was it though? Is it in state right away?
I don't think it was, I'll go back and check.
It's on State Route, Route 9.
If it was on Route 30, that's a state
No,
road,
no,
and
no.
the DOT would have jurisdiction over
By
that.
there, on that curve. Yeah, because they talked to me about
On
it.
the memorial, yeah.
Okay, any other commissioner comments? Seeing here none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Forsy?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 155.
Shared services agreement with the Ocean County to place Atlantic County youth when needed at the Ocean County Juvenile Detention Center, amount not to exceed $100,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chairman, if I may.
Yep.
I
Commissioner
don't know if it comes to, Amy may be able to answer, but Jerry, we're thinking about if we need to send youth to Ocean County. Have we been, maybe I'm confused, have Harpersville come to the point where we have to start sending people out?
No, this is a unique and special situation having to do with certain clientele that's there in circumstances of how they need to be kind of sequestered. So this would be like a temporary thing to allow the space that's required. I don't know. I don't want to.
That's good enough.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
We had to move the young, we had to move females out of the facility.
Okay, but let me say this, Jerry.
Due to one of the young men there.
Okay, Jerry, I'm not gonna tie the meeting up. I like to have this conversation
Sure.
as a sidebar.
Yeah, great.
Because only reason I'm saying that is we've never done this before. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. I did not make that part of the meeting, but I just want to get a little bit more information. It sounds like some clandestine stuff. Maybe esoteric, maybe mundane, earth-centered, deranged, decadent, or something. I don't know, but.
All those words he likes.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the attorney. He's looking like, okay, don't ask no more questions.
I saw Rick eyeing me up.
No, you did great. I'm sitting on No, I'm just curious to find out.
Okay, any other comments from the commission?
Sure you got legit.
Anything from the public? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Reservations, yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 156.
Additional appropriation to the 2022 temporary budget pursuant to NJSA 48:4-20.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing here none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Recused.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 157. Take a breath there for a little. I don't know how you do it some days.
Alternate method contract with Sosh Architects to provide architectural services for the renovations of the existing voting machine warehouse, amount not to exceed $31,000.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Seeing here none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us to appointments with Resolution 158.
Reappointment of Anthony M. Edge to the Solid Waste Advisory Council for a term to expire on January 1, 2025.
Motion.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners?
I'm
Dana?
sorry, I missed a second.
Second.
Oh,
I'm a
sorry.
third it now.
Any comments from the public? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to combine and adopt resolutions number 159 to 162, which are roadway solicitations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Any comments from the commissioners? Hearing seen none. Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 164.
Resolution recognizing March as Women's History Month. Sponsors Maureen Kern, Amy L. Gatto, and Karen L. Fitzpatrick.
Motion.
Second.
Motion has been made in second. Any comments from our commissioners?
Madam Chair, I just want to say
You gotta lean in a little.
thank you for bringing this, and thankfully we had a special meeting today, or we would have missed March.
Yeah. We knew that. We knew we were late. Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Just want to say that March is Women's History Month. We have women on the Board of Commissioners, and we wanted to get together and recognize all the other women in Atlantic County for the leadership and examples that they set for us and the women coming up, the young girls and teens.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gatto?
Ditto.
No, I feel the same. It's, yeah, we are in positions that we can set the example, you know, especially for our youth, I think. And throughout the month and the county in many different ways, and a lot of the companies, they also have been honoring women in their positions and what they do for the community. So, thank you. Okay, any other comments from the commissioners? Seeing here none, anything from the public? Okay, thank you. Well, roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Horsey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 165.
Resolution requesting Governor Murphy and the New Jersey Legislature to suspend the New Jersey motor fuel tax. Sponsor Frank X. Ballas.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Ballas?
Thank you. So I just thought it was important, we talked about this at our last meeting, as since the invasion in Ukraine, the motor fuel taxes continue to go up and up, although they dropped back down, and then the next day they went back up 15 cents. So the price.
We knew what you
not the
meant.
taxes.
We knew what we meant.
Yeah, not the tax, the charge. Not only does that affect everybody who drives a vehicle, it affects every piece of merchandise that's in every retail store. The price of motor fuel, diesel fuel that truck drivers are paying right now is outrageous. I've been given a copy of Assembly Bill 3669, which they're also trying to pass. To me, I don't really know that it goes far enough. They don't, in their bill, they would like a 50% reduction that goes for the months of June, July, and August. And then they have some percentages in there if it goes above $5, and if it goes up to $5, and then suspend it completely if it goes between 501 and 550. If our governor and the state legislature can do anything to reduce, either eliminate or reduce until the price of motor fuel gets back down in the general area that it was prior to the invasion of Ukraine, it would be helpful, of course, to the residents of not only this county but the entire state. And we are a tourist destination. One good thing with the price of fuel being so high, there are a lot of people when are flying, they go long distance, and a lot of people do drive to come to Atlantic City, Ventnor, Margate, Longport, the shore towns, Brigantine, and any help that could be given, to reducing the tax. I know it's much needed because, if you eliminate it completely, for the entire year, and everyone's going to complain, which they complain anyway, about how bad the roads are. But and a lot of it goes towards debt service, but the state can restructure some of their debt service and help the people out. It would be great if the federal government would do it. I mean, you look at not millions, but billions of dollars that they send out of this country to other countries for aid. We need to aid to residents here in our country.
Yeah, and there's a
that's
number of
why
states, I think, that have done this.
there are states that have done it. So it's not a unique idea. It's not my idea. It's, it was put out there. And again, like I said, Assembly and Senate are talking about something. And hopefully if it makes it to the governor's desk, he does sign it. And hopefully it's temporary and this all goes away. Because what's going on in Ukraine right now is very disturbing. It's such a shame, the amount of people that have lost their lives, not only from Ukraine, U.S. citizens that are over there, and the Russian population that are in there. The numbers are just amazing. So that's why I proposed this.
Thank you.
I'm Chair, I would say, I certainly support the spirit of this, that the state needs to do the number crunching. And they claim they have, a surplus right now in the budget. Oil prices, gas prices have been going up, for a long period of time, not just the invasion, but way before that. There's the supply issues. There's lots of other things, but a reduction in the gasoline tax is, even temporarily, would be probably one of the most fairest things you could do for everybody. Every individual is going to benefit by that. And like Frank said, it's not just our cars, but in transportation and so many other things that the tentacles extend way out. So I see it as a fairness thing across the board, because you know, this adversely affects lower incomes more than anyone. The increases in gas taxes, so the price of fuel. So I certainly support the spirit of this, and I hope the legislature can come up with something that works out for everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments from the commissioners? Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Commissioner Ballas mentioned the federal taxes as well, and I think they're like 40 cents a gallon or something very high. Would you want to include that and send this to our federal representatives as well, Andrew, Menendez, and Booker?
I have no reservations with that whatsoever. Rick and I spoke about that, and if that's something that the majority here would like to see, absolutely. Anything that can help the residents of the United States, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
we would just
wording we need to go into that, Rick?
So just in like the fourth whereas, we would say suspending the New Jersey gas tax and the federal gas tax. And then in the last paragraph where we reference to work with Governor Murphy and the state, we would say to work with our federal representatives and federal government.
Well, ask our attorney.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to do a motion to combine, I'm sorry, a motion to amend the resolution and adopt it in that format, I think that's totally acceptable.
Amy, I have a question. Are you trying to take the lawyers?
No, I'm just
She sort of is. I wasn't gonna say that. It's not about
Right
me.
in there.
Yeah, I mean, she knew it was coming, that's why she knew it was.
I know.
Yes, and to amend the title.
Is that an amendment? Is that a motion?
I make a motion to amend as discussed, including the title.
Second.
Second. Made and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay. Anything
amended.
from the public? Okay, well, roll call.
No,
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I sat for so long, I got stiff, I couldn't move. I'm just kind of curious, I'm sorry, my name is Kathleen Spaeth and I live in Linwood. I'm kind of curious as to if this resolution is passed tonight, what then happens to it? Like you mentioned, like the commissioner mentioned, the state of New Jersey does have an Assembly Bill 3669 that they're looking at. So does this help, if the commission approves this, to then say that, for instance, in Atlantic County, we support the suspension of the New Jersey motor fuel tax along with the federal gas tax? Is that a good thing for the assembly to see?
Yes.
Yeah.
It definitely, it helps because that's why we do it. Obviously, it's not in our control, but we do it. We bring it as Commissioner Ballas has to representing Atlantic County.
Okay, great. That's wonderful to
That's
hear.
what we hope for.
That's what I was thinking, the same thing too.
Yeah.
And then just to go to the argument, because Commissioner Ballas brought it up, the fact is that these taxes do go towards the debt service and hopefully some road improvements. So on the other end, are you going to hear, for instance, in the New Jersey Assembly, that there will be people complaining about the fact that maybe that money, whatever that is that they would normally have, wouldn't be available? So will there be people down the road complaining about the fact that this was this might have passed? So is that something that you have to think about as a commission down the road?
I'm going to ask Jerry.
It's timelines.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much money there that we're still moving ahead. It's not going to stop a project that we're doing now. Is that correct?
It wouldn't hurt county government.
No.
Right.
That's not gonna help, that will not help county government. The only issue would be is if that money, the money is for the, comes to the counties as projects. Quite the question would be is whether they would give us other monies. Because that goes into the state aid. That would be the issue.
Right.
Okay.
Commissioner Bertier.
No, that was it. It goes into state aid, and then as far as the impact goes, it's the duration of the legislation. If they're telling you it's 2 months they want to do it, and they know the dollar amounts that's going to be involved, all that would factor in to how much of an impact it would be as far as them calling us and complaining, what are you attempting to do kind of thing. So this just sends us, as we said, the board stated, this sends them the information that the people we represent are looking for some help right now during this particular time to try to get some relief at the pump. And it's across the board. It helps commercial, it helps everybody. It's a pretty fair way of doing it, since a lot of those taxes tend to be user fees anyway. If you're utilizing fuel and you're buying fuel, you're paying for that at the tank, at the pump. So these are kind of like user fees.
And just to put this on a personal level, I greatly appreciate you bringing this forth and discussing this tonight, and then allowing us as the public to ask questions, because I do use gas fuel like everyone else does. I use gas fuel in my car, I use gas fuel in my lawnmower when I mow my lawn, and every time I go to the gas pumps, I'm holding my heart, okay? And the prices have changed so much. As a matter of fact, I just filled up recently, and the person who pumped for me, because I'm also originally from Massachusetts and I'm not used to people pumping my gas still. I love the fact that it gets pumped for me here, but he had told me they had changed the price 6 times in one day. So imagine the shock of people when they first go to the gas pump and it's $4.01, and then now it's creeped up to $4.09. I don't even know what the gas prices are right now. Every time I drive by the gas station, my teeth chatter. So thank you very much for bringing this forth. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I don't mean to belabor this at all, but I was just speaking to a gentleman last night, CTR, Trash and Recycling in Galloway Township, and he was just talking about how the cost of gas is crushing his business as he's trying to grow. Everything is hurting. A lot of local restaurants that relied solely on takeout delivery during the pandemic are adding delivery charges $3 and up.
Your landscapers, that's what she was saying.
The
landscapers are
correct. So hopefully
yeah.
the state can offset any harm done to their debt service. They're sitting on billions of federal money still. So, but anyway.
Okay, we're going to have a roll call on the amendment.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. And then we go back and vote on the actual resolution as amended.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes.
And Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner, for bringing this. Okay, Resolution 166.
Resolution to reaffirm and memorialize the board's position and comments concerning the pending application to construct a transfer station in the city of Pleasantville, sponsor Frank X. Ballas.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Commissioner Ballas.
Again, at our last commission meeting, there was extensive conversation about our original resolution that was passed and what the actual intent was. I got together with Rick, and as we spoke about memorializing what the intent was, that as we said at last meeting and several other meetings after we passed the resolution and during the time that we passed the resolution, that this board at that point, we were not voting on the trash transfer station. We were voting on the process to move forward without any roadblocks in front of it. Not whether we support it, whether we don't support it, because we don't have that right at this time. So, excuse me. So it was just to clarify and memorialize the intent and the wording, the conversation that we had during the passage of that resolution. And I think the resolution speaks for itself.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments for our commissioners?
Madam Chair,
Yep.
I'd like to quickly say that I also spoke to Rick, and when I called Rick up, he said Mr. Ballas had already been working on something because I too was a little bit, as I'm sure the rest of us was, getting a little frustrated having to defend a position that we didn't take, because of the language in the resolution. So it's nice to have the resolution rewritten And I know that we had, even the night of, spoke about revising some of the language in there. So it's nice to finally have it done. Maybe this will, ease a lot of minds and hearts out there to what the intent was of this commission, original intent was, and what we did by passing an original resolution. So thank you, Frank, and thank you, Rick.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from the commission?
Madam Chair, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse to death, but let me say, when I first introduced this resolution, we knew what we were doing. The second thing to that is I think we missed the mark in terms of folks had it out or attempted to put it out that we were funding a transfer station, which we never were doing from the door. And so, as the commissioner said, we put it to rest. But it was never intended that we didn't know more than what we said we were going to do in terms of supporting Pleasantville. They wanted a transfer station. We were not going to block it. However, they're not going to get final approvals from us no matter what happens. It's got to go to the DEP, et cetera, et cetera. That's their battle at that point. But the myth out there that we, as a county, was funding a transfer station was a lie from the devil's pit, from the door. But that was just to stir up people, come out, as they would say, against a dump, all the bullshit they did. But the fact of the matter was, it was lies. But be as it may, hey, we move on. We move on. So I did have the conversation with the mayor of Pleasantville, and we was clear understanding where we stood and where they stood.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none. Anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, don't worry. That's what you're here for.
They got 2 more resolutions. Stay right there.
No. I don't have a problem with the last one.
She's gonna object to
Well,
that
maybe I should just stand here just in case.
You're good.
My name is Kathleen Spaeth. I live in Linwood. I really appreciate this board listening to us. I was one of the people who came to speak at the last commissioners meeting because I did question the way the language was written in December and the way that resolution was written. It was written in such a way, at least I interpreted that there was support. I think this resolution goes a long way, but I still have a few issues with the resolution. And in particular, the commission believes the city of Pleasantville has the right to look at ways to make economic improvements and attempt to spur economic growth in the community. And I completely agree with that. But what about the environmental and public impacts to the city of Pleasantville? The NJDEP has considered and designated Pleasantville as an overburdened community. And because of this designation, this resolution must look at ways to help avoid or minimize environmental or public health stressors in the city of Pleasantville. And I right now don't see that in this language. Specifically, the commissioners want to respect the application process, and I understand that. We should be respecting the application process. So why hasn't the fact that the application must be reviewed by the Solid Waste Advisory Council as part of the Commission's previously supported solid waste management plan hasn't been written into this resolution? And we talked about this last time. I believe the way that this is supposed to work is this applicant must go in front of the Solid Waste Advisory Council. Then in turn, the Solid Waste Advisory Council holds public hearings where everyone can be heard. And then in turn, this the Solid Waste Advisory Committee has to bring a recommendation and a review and an opinion to the commissioners. And then the commissioners must vote on this application. At this point in time, this application has been submitted to SWAC, but it has been sitting out there since last April. In particular, the development and the planning board of the Atlantic County Commission and the county itself has responded to the applicant and sent out 2 letters and asked the applicant to bring this application forward and to discuss it and to answer the questions, and those questions haven't been answered. So I guess what I'm trying to get to is this is very well written and I really appreciate it, but I think there's still a few other areas. And in particular, my biggest concern is the fact that this application is being brought forth in a city that has been defined by NJDP as an overburdened community. And unfortunately, I don't have to remind this commission about some items that have happened in the city and that continue to happen in the city that overburdens that community. And I don't mean to speak for that community, but I live in an adjacent community, and I know many people who live in that community. And so their biggest concerns are, what are the environmental impacts? What are the public health stressors? And I really want this commission to think about that. And is there a way we can incorporate some of that in the language?
So as you mentioned, it's a process,
Mhm.
okay? So all we said was support the process.
Yep.
The things that you're mentioning have to go through the process with
Good.
the DEP, and Pleasantville has to go through those things. That's not up to us at this stage. When the SWAC gets it, then they do have the public hearings and they do review, but that's a long ways
Okay.
before they get it, but.
Okay. I'm
Commissioner
glad
Patino,
to.
did you want to explain anything further? I heard you saying a couple.
I can't speak to that particular issue.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Actually, you're not even supposed to be present in the room right at this moment.
You took him
You
off
should have
surprise.
recused yourself.
I'm going to, you're a little
He
bit
did.
ahead of
I
me.
know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's why he's not
I
speaking.
thought, yeah.
So again, ma'am, as our chairwoman explained, we support the process. Where all the stuff that you're talking about, that all has to move forward. That has to go through all them channels, and somewhere, somehow, it may end up back with us.
Mhm.
But it needs to move forward, so it either gets voted up or it gets voted down. But, and a lot has to do with the different channels they have to go through and the applicant.
Mhm.
And none of that do any of us have a say in, other than saying that it's something that Pleasantville wants, it's something that a contractor wants, and the applicant, and we support that process moving forward. And it's either gonna pass or it's gonna fail.
Mhm.
And if it fails, it never comes back to us. If it passes, it comes to us, and then you and whoever else wants to come in and voice your concerns, and the Pleasantville residents and anybody else, then they come in, and then we take a vote on whether, if we have a say in that.
But they have a very stringent process to go through the
Correct.
DEP and all that. They are the types of things you're talking about that the DEP will very strongly look at. That, we don't look at, we look at it when it finally gets through the process. So, and that takes quite a bit.
I don't think this commission understands that first it has to go to SWAC.
Yes.
And then it has to go to NJDEP.
That's part of the
And I
process.
just wanted to make sure that we all understood what the legal process is.
We do. We do.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. And I think that the way that you wrote this resolution, it does say that it should engage in the legal process. It's just that it wasn't descriptive, and I'm glad to hear from you commissioners that you understand. First it goes in front of SWAC. SWAC then hopefully gets a full application and those letters are answered with the information that's missing. But if it doesn't, then SWAC can't review it right now, so the application just sits out there. It has been sitting out there since last April.
Absolutely.
Okay, I appreciate that very much, and I thank you for your
No, we
time.
appreciate your passion for it. Thank you.
That's why we pay attorneys. I think you try to take his job too. I think you try to take his job.
No.
We have another public
Thank you.
comment.
Good job.
We have another public, sir?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Tim Jones. I'm a Pleasantville resident. I do appreciate the fact that you do have a role in this process, even though you don't have a direct role. I think there's a fundamental problem with municipalities, not just ours, but many, that you tend to have people without the knowledge and skills necessary to competently do their jobs, and yet they're put in a position to make decisions that are monumental, absolutely monumental. And it's somewhat unfortunate. A lot of these people, they get elected unopposed on ballots because of apathy in communities. It's a very deep problem, and it's not your problem as the county commissioners. I just appreciate the fact that you do have an impact in our matters. And I just want to say my appreciation for that realization.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here this evening. There any other comments from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Abstain.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Gatto,
Yes.
Parker,
Absolutely.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution 167.
Resolution to amend the board's public meeting schedule is to cancel the meeting on April 5, 2022.
Meetings. Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments from the commissioners?
Madam Chair, just to be clear, so that means we're not gonna have a meeting until the 19th. Are we confident that we have business that can wait 3 weeks and
Well, we
that we
always
won't
run that
have?
by administration first,
That's why
before we
this-
make
that's why
that
this agenda
decision.
was so
I was gonna say, we won't have a mile-long agenda on the next.
As long as we're not having
I
an
don't
agenda
promise
that's
anything, but we always run it by administration.
First of all, I think the record should be clear if in fact, and Amy raises a good point, if there becomes an emergency.
Then we
could
call
be-
a meeting.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Because Jerry don't want to meet with y'all no more than he has to, and I don't blame him, but if he has to come back on an emergency, he will.
Do we have any other comments from the commissioners? Seeing, hearing none, anything from the public? Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes, motion carries. And Madam Clerk, that now concludes the written portion of our agenda. You can take a sip of water. Any reports of special committees of the board?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I don't mean to belabor the meeting, but it is really good and important news, coming from the Lake Lenape Dam Committee. Following a day after our last meeting, the spending bill, in the federal government was signed into law, and that did include $4.6 million for the Lake Lenape Dam, replacement, which is huge, for not only the taxpayers of Atlantic County, but for Hamilton Township, because they split the cost. So that takes that bill from a $6 million bill to a $1.4 million bill for our taxpayers. And that would not have been in that spending bill had it not been for Congressman Van Drew, and for the diligence of the municipal leaders in Hamilton Township, and of our Lake Lenape Dam committee members as well, and our county engineering department, and county administration. And I just really want to give kudos, because that was something we had to rush to put all of the needed pieces together to go into the bill. It's been a year that we've been fighting for it to get passed in the bill. And now we're at the point where we've gotten that money. Now, that $4.6 million has to be obligated by October 1st of this year. So we did have a special meeting of the Lake Lenape Dam Committee, immediately following the announcement. Congressman Van Drew and his legislative aide did attend that meeting. And we went through all of the things that we have to do, and which is a lot in terms of permitting and going out to bid and getting final designs done. There's a lot of work to do. Our vendor, WSP, is doing a phenomenal job they put a totally revised schedule down to figure out ways to work some things in parallel to shorten that schedule. We've engaged with Senator Palestina and with Congressman Van Drew to make sure that the approvals that need to get done in the state of New Jersey, various offices, are going to be with expedited attention so that we can get the monies obligated on time. So it's truly a team effort from top to bottom levels of government. And not enough can be said for the level of work that everybody is doing around all of the levels. And I just want to also mention in that bill, from an Atlantic County perspective, in addition to the $4.6 million for that, Atlantic Cape Community College, Mays Landing campus, got $69,000 for small unmanned aircraft systems training program, and $212,000 for County Business Development Network. Stockton got $500,000 for coastal resiliency equipment, education, and outreach. Mission Health Atlantic City got $1 million for facilities and equipment. Small Business Assistance Initiative, Office of the Business Administrator of Atlantic City, $800,000 for training, outreach, marketing to help individuals start and maintain small businesses. And Hamilton, $395,000 for a study to rehabilitate their sanitary sewer system. So Atlantic County made out very well in this bill, and we're represented well in Congress, and I think it's something that needs to be celebrated, all the work that, again, everybody around the county has done to get these monies for our residents.
Kudos to the damn committee.
And kudos to our Commissioner Gatto, who was very big in supporting this and being out there fighting for it. But don't forget yourself on that. You spent a lot of time on this and energy.
Well, you know, I live down the street from it, but it's important to, well, a lot of people, even from an environmental standpoint, and making sure that, you know, we continue the ecological continuation of where the water flows and all that jazz, so.
Yeah, but thank you.
I sound like I know what I'm talking about.
I don't know, you've been allowed to. Okay, any other reports from the commissioners? Okay, any unfinished business? Seeing, hearing none. Any new business? Seeing, hearing none. Has anybody received any copies of written communications and petitions that they would like to bring up at this time? Hearing none. We now are open for the public comments portion. Anyone that would like to speak during public comments, please come to the podium, state your name and the town you reside. You'll be provided up to 3 minutes to speak. If you're attending virtually, please type yes in the question and answer box. You'll be raised as an attendee to a panelist. When you're raised, again, please state your name and the town you reside.
Hello, my name is Tim Jones again, Pleasantville. I'm this time standing to ask your support with our infrastructure issues. Ms. Commissioner Gatto just made a comment as to support for the sewer system that she achieved for another municipality here. We're in a situation, we have an aged infrastructure, as do many of the places around here. They say that the infrastructure in Pleasantville for the sewer system is 110-year-old. My home is 110 years old. It was owned by Leeds originally, according to the deed records. Okay? The thing is, I think that, you know, we need people to assist. I mean, like you said, Pleasantville's business, but counties are made of municipalities. You know, so there is a connection, there's a relationship there, and the connections to the higher powers, the federal infrastructure monies, etc. I just ask that you could do something to facilitate those connections down to people on a local level that may not know or, you know, be engaged in the processes to do things other than engage in ridiculous lease agreements as Pleasantville was headed for. You know, it was a disastrous deal, and I hope it just gets killed. But nonetheless, we need solutions. I'm working, you know, with other people in our community to kind of come up with a solutions team, because you come to meetings like this, and I don't like this to bring problems. Solutions from the community is something I want to work on, and that's the reason why I'm at this meeting, and I'm going to try to engage in more of the meetings. But I'm just asking you, like the letters, like I'm going to say Sheriff Ballas, Commissioner Ballas, who's going to do too for the fuel tax, you know, to the state. Same thing with infrastructure. I ask that you kind of just give some notice to the issues of Pleasantville or other municipalities. I'm not speaking just for Pleasantville, but I'm a Pleasantville resident, such that they get proper support for infrastructure improvements instead of going out and seeking private equity pirates to just raid the communities. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for your commitment to the community, very much so.
So Madam Chair, if I can address Mr. Jones's comment regarding the infrastructure, and he's quite right on the issues in Pleasantville. They're not unique than any other towns, but I do know that Mayor Ward has been in contact with the governor's office, with some other agencies regarding infrastructure. And the last conversation I had with the mayor regarding that, it was something along the old Turnpike Road at this point. And that's not the only street, but there's some movement going on regarding infrastructure in the city of Pleasantville. And as you indicated, whether it's the water company, the sewage company, all that. A couple of weeks ago, there was a big meeting over there, whether they were going to sell it or privatize it or lease it or whatever. There's all those issues is coming up, and they're talking about it. But I know personally that the mayor of Pleasantville has been in contact with the Department of Community Affairs, DEP, and some other agencies with the old dual fuel site on Turnpike in Pleasantville. So there's some movement. Just don't want to make announcements until you guarantee you're going to get this money to do these projects. But there have been conversation, and I think they've been very positive conversations. know, Pleasantville's not unique like any others. You got potholes, you got bad streets, you got the whole 9 yards. So to your point, there has been some movement from the mayor's office in Pleasantville in Trenton, and I'm assuming they're going to be making an announcement real soon with some infrastructure in Pleasantville. How much, I don't know, but I do believe it's going to happen.
And a letter from you would not hurt.
I want to almost say it's a done deal, but it ain't never done until it's done. But you're right.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do we have anything else from the commissioners? Or anything else, I'm sorry, from the public? No, nothing else from the public? Okay, that closes the public session, and now we have comments for the good of order. I have just, two, that every April is World Autism Month, which was established to promote a better understanding between those with autism and be a part of the world they live in. Not stand outside looking in. April 2nd is World Autism Awareness Day. I invite everyone to wear blue on this coming Saturday to promote awareness. And I really want to give a shout out to the people in our area, Ken and his wife Isabel. They do a fabulous job on raising money for autism awareness, and I think we see them, they do numerous things throughout the year. And also April 2nd is also the beginning of Ramadan. For those observing this year, I wish you and your families a happy and generous Ramadan. Any other comment for the?
Madam Chair, yeah, I just asked that we all keep the family of Judge Robert Switzer in his prayers. He passed away today. So just notify.
Have a minute of silence.
Yeah, Judge Switzer, he wasn't doing well, but yeah, he passed away.
Me and Judge Switzer had round for round of blanks.
He served Hamilton Township very well for a very long time.
Thank you. Do we have anything else for the good of the order? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.